The next job was rebuilding the car itself.
Look at that, it just looks like an horrible old bit of wood fit for the wood burner. But if you turn it over, there's our maker's plate. It's got to go back on the car.
Good basic seat.
Oh, look at that sack.
Agricultural sack.
Our Model T is all about speed, so every little thing counts. Fitting those original disc racing wheels not only makes her look the ticket, but they'll cut down on wind resistance. Even though our car is unique, deep down it's still a Model T, the world's first car. In total, there were 15 million of them made, coming off the production line at the rate of 1 a minute.
I mean, was he cutting corners, Neil, in order to get the profit?
No, not really, but he was saving money. If for example, you realise he was producing 10,000 cars a day, and he was saving 1 bolt, well, 1 bolt worth 1 cent became $100 a day.
1 cent's nothing.
Yeah, but $100 a day was one man's wages for a year, so that was saving money.
It starts to add up.
Yeah.
With the engine ready, it's time to drop it down onto the chassis.
Right, let it down slowly.
Nice and slowly, Pete.
Yep.
It's the heart of our car, and even in 1911, no boy racer was going to be seen without an extra big exhaust.
It looks fast. It looks like a racing
great.
car exhaust.
Yeah,
There's no silencers on this one.
there's welds.
So everything's bigger and better on this one.
Yep, this is definitely go faster stuff on here.
Gradually, our golden Ford is coming back to life. But now we've found a problem with the steering column.
I've got the steering wheel, but we've got a problem. To restore this back to being a single-seater racing car, it has to have its steering all in the centre. And at some time in this car's later life, did it all to the right-hand side, which means we've got to bend everything back.
Smile. It's going to fit.
Yeah.
We've sorted the steering column. Now we've got to bend the pedals back to the centre. They're the originals, so we don't want to snap them. Hence the heat and the strained faces.
Bring it a bit.
How's it going?
Well, we're getting there. Just got to do a little bit of fiddling with these pedals.
What's the difference going to be between driving a bog-standard ordinary Model T and this racing one?
You've got to be mad to drive this.
Yeah, you're going to be much more cramped in this. You're not going to be able to see what you're doing. Your feet will have to be on instinct.
Actually, it's going to be tiny, isn't
Yes,
it? By the
very
time we've
tight.
got the bodywork in here.
Yeah, just right for you.
Keen to see our car in bits, I raced back from Brooklands, armed with loads of info about A.E. George and our car's heyday. But it seems the workers had been on strike.
Hello. What's happened?
Well, we've rebuilt it.
It looks exactly the same as the last time I saw it.
It's all been to pieces and then been put back together again.
Pipe you've got on it there.
Yeah, that looks good, doesn't it?
Mr. A.E. George.
The fact that Claire and the boys had done the mechanics so quickly shows just how simple these old Fords are. But there's one thing bothering me. There's no point fitting the bodywork till we've checked out that she really is a runner, safe enough to burn rubber at Brooklands.
Now we're going to have to test this car, and I think I know just the place. Come on, let's get her loaded up. That's the way, Claire.
You realise if it goes backwards, you're the one who's going to get flattened by it.
It's a bit of a gamble, but it's worth a try. Ford must have a test track, and surely they couldn't refuse one of their firstborn.
Straight back.
Well, thanks very much, Neil. You've done a great job. We're going to take it away and have it thoroughly tested, but I'm afraid the bad news is you're not going to be able to see the car again until it's been fitted with its bodywork.
Well, I'll miss it being in the workshop, but I look forward to seeing what you can achieve.
Well, hopefully, with its beautiful brass bodywork, it's going to look like a dream.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thanks
Cheers.
a lot.
As long as we don't kill it at the test track.
Cheerio, boys.
Bye, Claire.
Bye then, Claire.
Bye.
What finer place could there be to test our fabulous racing car than here at the Ford test track? This is our last chance to find out if there are any really serious technical problems. It looks the part, but it hasn't really been driven in anger yet.
Now, what young, brave young fool would dare to drive this thing? Who else but Claire Barrett? Yes, she's our test driver for the day.
It's me, and I have every faith in Neil and Pete's engineering skill. But this thing is capable of doing 70 to 80 miles per hour, and it's like nothing else I've ever driven before. It's unbelievable. The throttle is up here on the steering. If you hit what you would normally consider to be the brake pedal, it's actually reverse. And the brake is actually where the accelerator is.
So basically you need your head on back to front, Claire.
Just doesn't bear thinking about. If you get into a panic and hit the wrong thing, that's it. That's me all over the test track.
Well, all I can say, Claire, is the best of British. I'll get it started up.
I can't tell a lie. I really am pretty nervous. I just don't know how I'm going to react if something does go wrong. And if it does, the brakes, I'm not kidding, are next to useless.
But even if the chassis performs on the test track, I'm still going to have to infiltrate Ford's European Design Centre to help Claire turn this old pram into a golden chariot fit to rip on the deadly banks of Brooklands. Challenge, the restoration of the golden Ford is going pretty well. We've managed to do all the mechanical work in double quick time. But before we rebuild her brass body, we're going to have to check she's up to taking on the treacherous banking at Brooklands.
This is the first time this chassis has run in anger for probably 60 years or so anything could happen. With only 2 gears to choose from, I'm getting pretty sceptical about this car's mythical speed. However, there's only one way to find out. Change up to the top.
Oh, bloody hell! Oh, I'm going to cut the rest out of it now. Oh, this is so fast! Oh, she just wants to fly around.
She's a very brave girl, but unless I'm very much mistaken, it isn't half wobbling.
Even though I had a Tony Blair smile pasted to my face, I was bricking it. Every time I hit 40 miles an hour, the steering just went to pot. The back end was just kicking out all over the place. It can't be the chassis or the axles, because we fixed those, so it has to be the wheel itself.
Claire, you're still alive.
It's absolutely brilliant. I was trying to be sensible, but it just wants to go fast. The main thing is this wheel, though. I could see behind me it's wobbling all over the place. It's really throwing the back end of the car out. So we're going to have to get that straightened out. So that's going to have to be done. But apart from that, she's like a dream. She is ready for her bodywork.
You did look very like Lady Penelope in the wacky races.
Oh, I love it. I don't want to give this one back. It's really, really good.
Even on that lovely smooth test track, that back wheel was doing its best to kill me. There's absolutely no way I'm going to burn rubber on those crazy bumpy bends at Brooklands unless it's fixed.
With Claire getting rid of her wobbles, I've been given the task of getting the body sorted. And for that, I need a plan, man.
I'm in the heart of the Ford Design Centre for Europe. I've almost had to sign my life away to get in here. It's top secret. From here, all the designs are conceived. It's big business and it's big bucks.
My contact is Matt Jones. He might look a bit old, but I'm told he's a whiz on the computers.
So, Matt, where did you start designing our bodywork?
Well, we had these photos and not a lot of information on them. Took the measurements off the chassis and came up with this here. If you look at it from the front, you can see how we've put in the track dimensions and the chassis dimensions and the radiator. And all the bodywork is made from the photos, which is sort of guesswork, really. It's come out like that. And if we give it some colour,
Lovely.
it starts to look a little bit more like a car.
Yeah. And how confident are you you've got something our bodyworker can work with?
Reasonable, because luckily with this system we can, if we see a side view here, we can give him a drawing of that and he'll be able to measure off the drawing, scale drawing, exactly what he needs to make the body. All right, here we are.
With that done, it was time to get the plans off to our coach builder.
Good luck.
It's been great doing business with you.
Okay, cheers.
While Suggs was mucking around with supercomputers, I was heading north with my wobbly wheel. to probably the only firm in the country who'd be able to fix it, Specialised Automobile Services. These guys are pretty much the best in the business. There's not a car worth owning that they've not made a wheel for. We've got Steve Hopkins, the big cheese himself, to straighten ours.
Right then, Steve, are we going to see exactly how wobbly this wheel is?
Yeah, well, let's get it on the jig and see what happens. I'll hold it in position if you want to put the bolts on.
This is pretty much the last saloon. If it doesn't work, there's no way we can make a press to stamp out a new one. We have to make it work.
It looks fairly bad. It's not even sitting on the jig properly. Right, let's just see exactly how far this is out.
Well, it's quite wobbly on the car.
Wow, that's terrible. How fast were you going with that?
I got it up to 50 miles an hour.
50?
And the guy in charge of the track kept going, slow down,
I'm not
slow
surprised.
down.
I'm not surprised. That is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. What's actually caused it to buckle like that?
Well, looking at it, you've got a weld here.
That's not the original manufacturer, is it?
No. I think sometime in its life it's had a fatigue crack. Somebody's tried to weld it, do a repair weld. And as soon as you put any heat on a disc, and it's going to buckle, exactly like that.
Ah. So can we repair this?
It's a difficult one. It's a very difficult one. I think the only way we're going to be able to do it is to cut round there, make a new centre, and hopefully, when we weld it back up again, we don't have the same problem, causing it to buckle.
What do you think the chance of success is?
Well, putting any heat on a disc wheel like this always causes problems, so slim to none, but we shall give it a try.
Now, being organised, I sent the measurements on ahead, and they've actually made up the central hub. Now, all we have to do, and I say all, is prepare the wheel and weld this in position. It probably won't work, but we don't really have a choice. We have to give it a go.
The idea is to use the new hub as a flat surface on which to bolt our bent wheel. By tightening the nuts bit by bit, we should gently coax it back into shape.
OK, let's get going.
Is it time for the gas out?
Yes.
Hey.
This might seem crazy, but the first thing Steve must do is butcher our beloved wheel, cutting a hole for the new hub.
Right, Claire, get a big hammer, we can knock it out now. There we go. Wind the monks up.
With the hub fitted, it needs to go back on the jig, and bit by bit, just a few thou at a time, Steve tightens the bolts, bringing the wheel back into alignment.
Fighting.
Getting better all the time.
It's then we can begin to weld it all back up again.
Now comes the hard bit. As soon as we go anywhere near the thin bits of metal with a welding torch, they're going to heat up, expand and buckle in all sorts of interesting ways. If we're not careful, we're going to end up creating a wheel worse than the original one we had. The alternative is to spend £30,000 on a brand new one, and we haven't got that.
This is the moment of truth. If we're going to fulfil our promise to Neil and get the car screaming at Brooklands once more, then this has got to work.
There you go, Claire. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's not bad at all, is it?
Considering how it was before. There's a little bit of distortion there, but it's not too bad. I think we can live with that.
Thanks very much. It's fantastic.
You're going to do 150 mile an hour on that now?
Yep, don't tempt me. I'm going to get that back to the workshop and straight on the car.
The only thing we need now is a set of tyres. Rubber might start growing on trees, but before it's a tyre, the black stuff's going to have to spend some time with Dunlop, being pulled, stretched and rolled into shape, just as it was 90 years ago.